From the studios in Bentonville, Arkansas, you're listening to Ethan Walton's Retail Supplier Podcast. Each week, we discuss the issues facing Walmart suppliers and bring you solutions from industry experts. Visit us online at ethanwalton.com if you have questions about today's podcast. And now your host, Jared Davis.
Thank you so much for joining us on our little podcast this week. You know, today's show, it's going to be a little bit different. Usually, we're talking about suppliers who are currently or aspiring to do business with Walmart. But we actually have several businesses tuning into our podcast that want to do business with Walmart, but they're not necessarily suppliers. These are companies, maybe they're young startups, that want to bring a new innovation to Walmart's systems and Walmart processes. So if you're a young startup, you got a brand new idea, how do you get prepared before you approach a large company like a Walmart or a Tyson or a J.B. Hunt? That's what we're talking about today with our guest, Josh Saffran. Josh is director of Plug and Play here in Northwest Arkansas, and we're going to talk about great things that he and Plug and Play have going on here, a big event that he's hosting in Silicon Valley coming up later this month. So much great information if you're a young startup or an innovator. It's going to be a great show. Josh, I'm very excited to talk with you today. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me, Jared. Excited to talk to you and the audience today.
Hey, Josh, I know you've been in the supplier world for practically your whole career. Let's start with you. Give us a little bit of your background and kind of lead us up to how you landed in your current position at Plug and Play.
Feels like it's an interview. I love it. Tell me about your resume.
That's right.
Most of my career was in CPG. As you referenced, I did a 13-year stint with Colgate-Palmolive, which is a world-class organization, and they moved me around quite a bit through the Northeast out to Minneapolis and Chicago, and then down here on what was supposed to be a 2-year rotation and in and out of Bentonville, which has now led me down here for 12 years. And I've done other stints here with major CPGs like BIC and Reckitt, and then I did a small stint with a frozen private label seafood supplier. So very much dealing with Walmart, leading teams with Walmart for about 11 or 12 years. And then I had this great opportunity fall in my lap, and I started here in April about 6 months ago with Plug and Play, which is very, very different than stuff I had done in the past.
All right. So for anybody who's not familiar, what is Plug and Play?
So Plug and Play is an accelerator, incubator, and investor in startup technology. It is Silicon Valley based. The company, it has been around for about 20 plus years. And we work with corporate partners like suppliers here in Northwest Arkansas, like Walmart, Tyson, J.B. Hunt, to help them in supply chain specifically right now, work through challenges and pain points. And by bringing them startup technology that they could either invest in, borrow the technology, buy the technology, in order to problem solve some of the challenges that they're having. So it's a really cool ecosystem of startups and corporate partners and pairing them to some of the challenges that are going on in the supply chain world we live in today.
Well, to kind of give us a real life scenario, let's talk about one of your success stories. We love to hear these success stories from entrepreneurs and small suppliers. So it sounds like you're making it happen for a lot of companies. So do you have like a favorite success story with Plug and Play?
Yeah, since we've been here, we've had 5 batches, and we've then morphed to well over 50 different companies. Startups have gone through cohorts here in a few years. And I think the best example comes to mind is a company called Platform Science, and how they have now worked with in a full-blown contract and rollout with Walmart. It's a transportation-based company that really worked with Walmart and their entire fleet to make the driving process better. The NPS score went from like a 20 up to over an 80, and it really helped driver retention, understand where Walmart's assets were within the trucking space. And it was great for Platform Science because they get a contract with Fortune 1. It was great for Walmart because they were able to help tweak and guide Platform Science all along the journey to then embed this technology into their fleets. And so it was a win for everybody, quite honestly. And Walmart got a chance to talk about this with Plug and Play and Platform Science at a summit we had here in April, and it was just very well received within the community.
Now, I know you work with startups and businesses all across the country, but what brought Plug and Play here to the Northwest Arkansas area?
I think my predecessors back in 2018 saw there was an opportunity here. We worked plug and play with the Northwest Arkansas Council and the Walton Family Foundation specifically to bring our company here to, one, help corporate partners in this area, but two, also to attract and retain high-level technology startups and talents here in this community. And I think we've done a good job of both of those areas, both helping the network here and, again, driving technology and technological advances and bringing this brilliant founders to the Northwest Arkansas ecosystem.
And of course, here in Northwest Arkansas, we've got this huge supplier community. So for all of our supplier friends who are listening, what is it that you want the supplier community to know, here in Northwest Arkansas about Plug and Play and how you can be a resource?
I think for me, it clicked like my first 30 days on the job here. When I was on the supplier side and we were talking with customers about innovation, it would always laugh. Well, we have this cherry flavor. Well, let's add lime to it. Now it's cherry lime. Hey, we have innovation. Let's get it into Walmart, and we want new items on the shelf, and it's incremental. And that's not really innovation. And we would struggle a bit to figure out like what's meaningful innovation look like. And if you think about what's just happened in retail in the last 25 years with companies like Kmart, Sears, Macy's, JCPenney's, really, right, that were huge in the late 90s, early 2000s, no longer here, and replaced by the Costco's of the Amazons, a lot of it is around technology and innovation. If you look at what happened in the shaver category in the last 20 years and how all of a sudden you bring in players like Dollar Shave and Harry's and Billy, and all of a sudden you've disrupted a very stable category. And then you watch what happened with Blockbuster and over to Netflix. And so for me, what I would love the CPGs and suppliers here to better understand and utilize is without technology and innovation, you're going to become old and dormant. And it's hard to do that by yourself. And use these brilliant founders, these brilliant startups to help you at least ideate and move you down this journey, because companies like Walmart and Amazon are moving just so rapidly. And if you don't move as fast, we're going to get left behind.
A lot of the technology and a lot of the things that Walmart's pushing for are improvements in that supply chain. And I know this is a big part of what you're trying to help out the suppliers with, with these startups and the technologies. How is it that Plug and Play helps suppliers in this supply chain space that's getting all this attention?
So we've built a tremendous relationship with Walmart in the time that I've been here, with meetings with their COO, their head of supply chain, their lead in transportation, and they see the value in what we're bringing here. They understand that we can help them along this journey. We actually got to a point with them, and we're starting to get with others, where walk me through what's in your goals for the year and let us pick off one or two of these obstacles and move forward. Things like robotics, things about like automation in the warehouse, last mile delivery. These are all places where everybody's challenged and struggling. And if you see a floor to ceiling loaded trailer and it's being manually unloaded by somebody and it's taking half a day to a day to do that, there's got to be a better way to do that, right? And so everybody's struggling with the same challenges. Everybody's trying to figure out this new world of supply chain as COVID is dissipating. And we have to help folks innovate in this space. And again, whether it's last mile, whether it's robotics, whether it's automation, there's so many different areas. We talk about procurement and figuring ways to have the right product in the right place at the right time. That's a huge challenge right now for suppliers. Where's my inventory? Why am I heavy on these certain items? The buying patterns have changed so much since COVID, and I can't figure out how to have raw materials in the right spot, ready to produce and be in store for Walmart, the entire supply chain network, and for my own internal P&L. We have companies that we're working with that solve this.
And Josh, I want to go back to your points on innovation, because you bring up a lot of great information. I know this is something that you're really helping suppliers out with. How does Plug and Play help the Northwest Arkansas community with innovation, especially as they're working with Walmart?
I think for me, the biggest thing is I get a chance in my job to hear really cool startups and founders pitching ideas that make you pause and think about it and say, how does that work? And it's less about their widget, it's more about the problem that they're trying to solve. So if you go and you look about how do you auto load and unload trailers, you go back to the example that we just talked about, like we need to innovate in that space. and whether there's technology that is here or needs to be addressed in this area. Those things are critically important. And the suppliers by themselves and any company is going to have a hard time solving that in isolation.
Now, just tell us again, how long have you been in your current role with Plug and Play?
I've been here for a little over 6 months.
So, still kind of being new to the role, what is it that you're hoping to accomplish here in Northwest Arkansas? What's kind of your vision and things that you like?
Well, there's a couple things right now. One is we are very solely supply chain focused currently. We have an accelerator here specifically focused in supply chain. And we have done a good job with companies like Walmart and JB Hunt and others. But we are now in the process of finalizing deals with 2 CPGs in this space, and being able to work with all the CPGs in this area and helping them, I think, is mission critical for us, because I know that we know how to do it and we can help partner in this space. The second thing is we've been very focused on some of the other buzzwords and hot buttons. We just did an outdoor recreation innovation day here last month, where we brought in startups, corporate partners, investors solely focused on innovating within the outdoor rec space. And then we're also very interested in the healthcare space here and potentially bringing an accelerator here. So really, really cool time to be in the innovation space, because these areas here in Northwest Arkansas have so much opportunity.
All right. And we're going to jump out of Northwest Arkansas for just a second and talk a little bit about Silicon Valley, because I know you're actually hosting a big summit coming up. It's this month, November. And so tell us about this summit and what that's all about.
So it's really, really cool to get out to the coast and see what's happening out there. We have a really nice headquarters out in the Santa Clara, Sunnyvale area. And we did our first one of these coming out of COVID in June. And we have 18 what we call verticals. So InsurTech would be a vertical, crypto would be a vertical, supply chain would be a vertical. There's 18 of these with our 48 offices around the world. And twice a year, the second one being here in November, we bring all key stakeholders from these verticals, the current batch of startups, well, our corporate partners and leads, out to California for 3 days of technology, of insights, networking and meeting. And we'll have over 2,000 people at our home office for these 3 days coming up. And it's the conversations and the meetings that you see happen there, you're just shaking your head going, this was so cool to watch happen right in front of you.
Now, speaking of events, and you mentioned this just a minute ago about the outdoor recreation event that you hosted here locally. Does this mean that there are going to be kind of more opportunities for expansion into other areas for Plug and Play?
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, clearly the main driver of us being here was in supply chain, but I don't want to take our eye off the ball on that. But there are other areas where we've been asked to help participate in innovation. And when you bring together almost 130 people in the outdoor recreation space for a day and a half of content, and then we got people out on the bike trails, we had people out on the lake. People say, well, is there innovation in the outdoor rec space? The answer is absolutely yes. It's not just getting on a bike and going with a helmet. There's all kinds of cool things that we had a chance to experience. We brought in Catherine Andrews, who's the director of outdoor recreation for the state of Arkansas. We had Robert Burns from the Walton Foundation as a keynote speaker. And obviously we know the Waltons and their ecosystem are very focused in this space. And so it was a fantastic day, and fingers crossed we can drive innovation through an accelerator here soon to be announced.
So Josh, I'm a young entrepreneur. I've got a solution to a problem. I've got my patent. I want to talk to someone at Walmart. I want to talk to someone at Tyson, because this is going to be revolutionary. As far as getting together with Plug and Play, what do I need to prepare for, and what do I need to do next?
I think there's a couple things. I mean, I've seen so many people. I get emails, LinkedIn, people bumping into me, and they're asking me for thoughts and guidance and feedback. And I would say a few things. One, make sure that you have a product that solves a problem, understand your competitive landscape, have together a good pitch deck around you, your business, your brand, and then understand where you are from an investment standpoint. What do you need money for? How much are you going to bootstrap and do on your own? What type of investors are you looking for? What's your growth plan and growth model? And when you can think through some of those things, reach out to me. And there's plenty of other people, believe it or not, in Northwest Arkansas that are in this space or interested in investing, angel investors and other folks. So there's a great ecosystem here that's building and growing, but reach out to me at j.saffran@pnptc.com, and we can get you pointed in the right direction.
All right. So if that's of interest, if you've got an idea or you just want more information about anything that Josh has talked about or want more information on Plug and Play, I've got all that information in our podcast description and a link to their website. So go out and take a look and see everything that they have to offer to get you set up for success. Hey, Josh, I really appreciate you being on the podcast today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jared, for having us, and appreciate you getting our message out there to your audience. Thanks for everything that you guys do for this community. 8th and Walton is fantastic, and keep doing what you guys are doing on your side.